City University Board of Trustees to order. I'd like to read the following notice, which has been distributed. The meetings of the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York are open to the public, and the board welcomes the interest of those who attend. The public has ample opportunity to communicate with the board. Public hearings on the board's policy calendar are scheduled 1 week prior to the board's regular meetings, and members of the public who wish to communicate with the board are invited to express their views at such public hearings. Furthermore, the board holds additional public hearings each year in all of the 5 boroughs at which members of the public may also speak. In addition, written communications to the board are distributed to all trustees. The board must carry out the functions assigned to it by law and therefore cannot tolerate conduct by members of the public that disrupts its meetings. In the event of disruptions, including noise, which interferes with board discussion, after appropriate warnings, I will ask the security staff to remove persons engaging in disruptive conduct. The university may seek disciplinary or criminal sanctions against persons who engage in conduct that violates the university rules or state laws which prohibit interference with the work of public bodies. May I now request that everyone take a moment to turn off your cell phones and BlackBerries. I'm very pleased to announce that CUNY has a new Rhodes Scholar. Brooklyn College and Macaulay's Honors College senior Zujaja Taukir has been awarded this prestigious scholarship. She will study for a master's in philosophy in the history of medicine at Oxford. Ms. Taukir is the 3rd Rhodes Scholar from Brooklyn College. She is also one of only 2 American Rhodes Scholars from New York and the only one studying at a college in New York State. Congratulations to her. I very much regret to report that 4 highly valued members of the CUNY family passed away since our last board meeting. Professor Bernard Sommer, who is known to many of us here for his outstanding service to City College, to CUNY, to the University Faculty Senate, and to our Board of Trustees, passed away this past Friday. As a first-rate mathematician, many of his conversations with our Chancellor often focused more on the theories of Einstein than university governance. A student scholarship fund has been established at City College in his honor. He will be missed. Dr. William M. Birnbaum, a nationally known university administrator and president of the former Staten Island Community College from 1968 to 1976. He is fondly remembered here at CUNY. He passed away on October 13th. His wife, Helen Birnbaum, a former CUNY administrator, is working with the university to establish a student scholarship in his honor. Ted Keel, a prominent labor negotiator, lawyer, environmentalist, and partner with CUNY and Queens College on a number of educational projects over many years, died on November 15th. He was a great supporter of CUNY and well known in New York as well as national circles. I want to extend our condolences to Medgar Evers College President William Pollard on the passing of his brother Reuben Burrell on October 18th. Please express our sincere sympathies to your family. It was just 1 year ago when Vice President Ernesto Malavi passed away. All of us at this table will recall the sense of shock and loss that we felt at his unexpected death. I would like to ask that everyone observe a moment of silence in Ernesto's memory. Thank you. As usual, CUNY TV is transmitting the public sessions of this afternoon's meeting of the Board of Trustees live on cable channel 75. This meeting is also being webcast live and can be accessed by going to www.cuny.edu. The public session of this board meeting will be available as a podcast within 24 hours and can also be accessed via the CUNY website. I would like to thank Trustees Frida Foster and Valerie Beal for their presentations at the well-attended CUNY Women's Leadership Conference held in conjunction with the New York Times on October 29th at Hunter College, entitled Breaking Boundaries in Science and Health, New Careers and Challenges. I would also like to thank Trustee Charles Shorter, who is out of town tonight, and Trustee Rita DiMartino for representing the board at the presidential lecture event held by City College on November 18th to confer an honorary degree of Doctor of Letters on recent Nobel Prize recipient and Peruvian writer Mario Vargas Llosa. Congratulations to President Lisa Stoyano-Koiko and her staff for organizing this fine event, and thank you Executive Vice Chancellor and Chief Operating Officer Alan Dobrin for representing the Chancellery that evening. I would like to congratulate Trustee Corey Provost for his re-election as USS Chair last month for a one-year term. Corey, welcome back, and we look forward to working with you, including at the upcoming dinner that the Chancellor and I are hosting for you and your colleagues. Now I'd like to call on Trustee Rita DiMartino to present a resolution.
Will this be resolution number 7?
Yes.
This is a resolution of appreciation for Peter G. Jordan. Whereas Dr. Peter G. Jordan was named interim Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs in September 2009 by the Board of Trustees, and whereas interim Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Dr. Jordan provided leadership in a wide range of areas affecting CUNY's 260,000 degree-seeking students, including career services, child care, counseling, student health, athletics, disability services, Veterans Affairs, and residential life, and whereas Dr. Jordan was also responsible for various university initiatives, including the Leadership Academy and the Black Male Initiative, and special programs such as SEEK and College Discovery, and in addition, chaired the Chief Student Affairs Officers Council, staffed the Board of Trustees Committee for Student Affairs, and worked closely with the University Student Senate, and whereas Dr. Jordan has been responsible for fiscal oversight and management of operations and scholarship budgets in excess of $10 million as Vice President of Enrollment Management and Student Development at LaGuardia Community College since 2004, and additionally had been Board Chair of the LaGuardia College Association, Inc., Vice Chair of the LaGuardia Child Care Corporation, and Secretary of LaGuardia Auxiliary Enterprises, and whereas Dr. Jordan was the first African-American elected president of the New York State Association for College Admission Counseling, received the CUNY Student Affairs Award for Distinguished Service and Exemplary Leadership in 2007, and is a member of the National Association of Student Personnel Administrators and the American Association of Collegiate Registrars and Officers of Admission, and whereas Dr. Jordan's leadership advanced the development of CUNY students and their academic and personal growth during a critical period and extended stability, efficiency, and accord across the university student affairs area. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York expresses its heartfelt appreciation to Dr. Peter G. Jordan for his distinguished service as interim Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs at the City University of New York.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, abstentions? Congratulations, Peter. Thank you. May I turn now to Trustee Valerie Beal to announce college and faculty honors.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. According to recent listings published by the Chronicle of Higher Education, Hunter College is among the top 10 national master's institutions that are producers of U.S. Fulbright students this academic year, and the CUNY School of Law is among the top 5 other institutions that are producers of U.S. Fulbright scholars. Congratulations. Faculty at the New York City College of Technology received the following honors. Patricia Chaluka and Carolyn Hellman were chosen for Fulbright Awards, and Karen Goodlad was indicted into the Les Dames Coupier Association. Congratulations. The Center for Digital Education recently listed both Hostess Community College and Kingsborough Community College among the top 2010 digital community colleges in the U.S. for their use of technology to enhance student experience and educator effectiveness. Congratulations. Queens College Economics Professor Leanne Usher received the first ever grant awarded by the Institute for Economic Thinking, funded by Mr. George Soros. Queens College Distinguished Professor of Biology, Corinne Michaels, has been selected as one of 31 women to be profiled in a film made in by the New York City Mayor's Commission on Women's Issues. Congratulations. Lehman College, Medgar Evers College, and Queens College were among 32 colleges and universities named as successful at making junior faculty feel welcome on campus, according to a report from the Collaborative on Academic Careers in Higher Education, based at Harvard's Graduate School of Education. Congratulations to them. The CUNY School of Law was cited by the Princeton Review among the top 10 U.S. law schools in the following categories: Best Professors, Most Chosen by Older Students, Most Diverse Faculty, and Most Liberal Faculty. CUNY Law is also consistently ranked by U.S. News and World Report as offering one of the top 10 clinical programs in the country, while National Jurist Pre-Law magazine recognizes the school as one of the top 10 public interest law schools nationwide. Congratulations. And finally, the National League of Nursing has designated the Hunter College School of Nursing a 2010-2013 Center of Excellence in Nursing Education. Hunter College Distinguished Professor of Public Health Nicholas Frudenberg received the 2010 Haven Emerson Lifetime Achievement Award from the Public Health Association of New York. Hunter Distinguished Professor of Psychology won the Society for Neurosciences Bernice Graskin Award for her mentoring. Congratulations to all. Mr. Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you very much. I turn to Trustee Rita DiMartino to announce student and alumni honors.
Kingsborough Community College and Kingsborough graduate Sharice Blake were recipients of the 2010 Robin Hood Heroes Award. As part of the award, the college was presented with a $50,000 check. This award is given annually to outstanding organizations and special New Yorkers who have overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles and have shown the resiliency of the human spirit. City College entering freshman students Oscar Camacho, Catherine Hernandez, Daoud Nesango, Liz Marie Peralta, and Mohamed Saba, all of whom were high-achieving high schoolers from the neighborhood, are the first ever recipients of City College President Lisa Stano-Koiko's Community Scholarships and will each receive $5,000. Congratulations. Hunter College Junior and anthropology major Jeanette Plummer was awarded a Harcourt Fellowship and a Mellon Mays Undergraduate Fellowship. Hunter graduate geography student Joanna LaRusi received the Renate W. Chasbin Scholarship by the Brookhaven Women in Sciences. Congratulations. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. A list of grants and gifts received by the university subsequent to the September 27th, 2010 meeting is available at the table and in the trustees' calendar book. I'd like now to call on Chancellor Goldstein for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me just add my voice to the chorus of other voices praising Pete Jordan for the wonderful work that he's done. Pete, when I asked you to assume that position, you did it with great enthusiasm, and you really put in hours upon hours to get the job done in the way that you did, and I really deeply appreciate it. It was really a pleasure to work with you, and I know that we're going to stay close over the next few years as well. The board ought to know that Chairman Benno Schmidt 2 weeks ago received the Philip Merrill Award for Outstanding Contributions to Liberal Arts Education from the American Council of Trustees and Alumni. This event was held at the University of Pennsylvania. I was joined by Trustee Kathleen Pasilli, Senior Vice Chancellor Rick Schaefer, and Senior Vice Chancellor Jay Hershenson. I was privileged to do reminiscences about Benno Schmidt, as did Floyd Abrams. It was a wonderful night, a very prestigious honor, many, many messages sent in of congratulations to Benno, including Colin Powell. So Benno, congratulations on a very well-deserved recognition. On November 9th and 10th, I was privileged to meet with some of the outstanding CEOs of public higher education in the United States. Some of you may know that since 2008, at least 43 states have cut assistance to public colleges and universities and or levied large tuition increases. As funding decreases and applications and tuition rise, public higher education faces a serious challenge. We were joined by presidents of systems from the University of California, from Arizona, from Georgia, from Florida, from Iowa, Washington, Oregon, Ohio, Virginia, Florida, Indiana, Illinois. We had the very top people in public higher education for a 2-day summit on an assessment of where we are in public higher education today and strategies and sharing ideas for how we are going to navigate the very, very difficult waters that we find ourselves in today and for the foreseeable future. I want to thank President Bill Kelly, who was very eloquent and participated, as well as our chairman and myself, and Jay Hershenson was there. So thank you all, and it was just wonderful that CUNY took the lead as we did in 2008, and we will continue to be the clarion message for public higher education. 80%, for those of you who may have forgotten, 80% of the students who study at colleges and universities in the United States study at public universities. This is a precious asset class in higher education, and we need to do everything that we can to preserve access and to provide the necessary environment so that students can realize their fullest potential as we go forward. We do have a new governor. Andrew Cuomo takes over on January 1st. His top priority is the state's $9 billion budget deficit projected next year, and the year after a much larger deficit, at least in the best economic and econometric models showing about a $14 billion problem the year after next. We are in constant touch with a number of Governor-elect's top advisors, and I recommended to the transition team's presidents to be involved with the transition, and I'm pleased to say that President Ricardo Fernandez has been selected to serve on the transition team, which has the important and time-sensitive task of recruiting the best talent to fill leadership roles in New York State government. I'm also pleased that President Bill Kelly has been selected to serve as a member of the Transition Task Force on Health and Education. Governor Paterson is calling a special session for the end of this month, November 29th. The agenda is still under consideration, but certainly a lead agenda item is going to be trying to find strategies to deal with another $300 million in cuts that will be on the table for discussion. We know that the next couple of years are going to be very tough in New York, and I think we have the resiliency, we have the resolve, we have the experience and the cooperation of working with all stakeholders here at the university and in leadership positions with elected officials throughout the state and the city to try to get the message across that this university is such a pleasant place to study, but also a fundamentally important place for students to become inspired and to acquire skills and to provide the opportunities for things that they hope to accomplish in their lives. On the city budget, Mayor Bloomberg released his November financial plan update on November 18th. The plan calls for a $1.6 billion in new budget gap closing actions across all city agencies. The reduction to CUNY's community college in the current fiscal year is slightly under $12 million, and for 2012, $16.2 million. Although many agencies included layoffs as part of their reduction initiatives, CUNY is targeting personnel savings at this time only through staff attrition. As always, the university will be taking measures to mitigate the impact on the community colleges through efficiencies and centrally managed accounts. As part of the financial plan issuance, the mayor also announced that city agencies will continue to be limited in hiring employees, with agencies only permitted to hire one employee for every 2 that leave, if resources are available. But hiring will continue for positions immediately impacting public health and safety, positions that generate revenue, or positions that are not funded with city tax dollars. Despite the budget gap closing actions, the city is still projecting a fiscal year 2012 budget deficit of $2.4 billion, and the mayor will be issuing his FY 2012 preliminary budget sometime in January. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, with the input of the CUNY Business Leadership Council and the help of our Office of Institutional Research and Assessment, we have prepared a report on CUNY and the New York City labor market. A one-page summary is available at your table, and I would strongly advise that you consult it, because I think there's much information in there that you will find interesting and helpful. Let me switch from matters of budget and finance to some academic matters. CUNY continues its goal of providing as high quality an education as we can that maximizes student success. More specifically, our goal is to help each student learn as much as possible while moving each student expeditiously towards a degree and then graduating that student. Given the relatively close physical proximity of our campuses, we have perhaps a unique opportunity among university systems to coordinate our educational offerings so as to allow students to move easily through the system, subject to individual colleges' admissions criteria, of course, and taking the courses that are most advantageous to them at a given time. However, despite these laudable goals, our retention and graduation rates, although improving dramatically over the past several years, is not where I would like them to be and not where I think everybody here would like them to be. And we do not currently have sufficient information to know how much students are learning while in the university's programs and how what they are learning compares to what is learned at other colleges and universities. We are prepared to take strong measures to address these issues. One of those measures is the rescission of the requirement that all CUNY undergraduates pass the CUNY proficiency examination. That is going to be an action that I'm recommending to the board later this evening. For those of you who just need a brief history, this was something that was approved by the Board of Trustees in 1997 and then implemented a couple of years later. I think it was in 2001. Its purpose was to certify that students were ready for upper division undergraduate work. Currently, each undergraduate must pass the CPE in order to receive a degree. However, after a decade of experience and really good data analysis, we know that the test is not providing us with significant information beyond the grades assigned by CUNY faculty. In addition, this test does not tell us much how students have learned, how much they have learned at CUNY, and because the test is unique to CUNY, we cannot compare our results to those of other institutions in higher education. So I think it is a good thing that we say goodbye to this high-stakes test and look for another test that will not be a high-stakes test. And we are starting that initiative very soon. I am interested, and I think all of us are interested, in getting a test that is nationally normed, psychometrically sound, and that measures how much our students learn while at CUNY and whose results we can use to help improve education at CUNY. So as we think through how to locate such a test, we will certainly keep the board apprised of our due diligence, and working with faculties across the university, we will be coming forward with a recommendation in due course. I also have asked Executive Vice Chancellor Lexa Logue to lead probably one of the most aggressive actions that we are starting to initiate here, and that is to really get our arms around general education here at the City University of New York. The way that CUNY has done this up until now has been essentially completely at the discretion of each of our campuses that have undergraduate education programs. I am not happy with our retention rates. I'm not happy with our transfer rates and articulation, although we have made extraordinary progress over the years. It's a very, very different environment than it was just a few years ago. But when I look at the data and show how many credits the average student takes to graduate, I am saddened by the number being as large as it is. And it is symptomatic of a university that I think wants to help our students succeed, but there are barriers for students to make the kind of leaps that they need to make, especially as they transfer from one institution to another. We will get this job done, but it's going to take time. It's probably the most ambitious academic enterprise that we have essentially tried to accomplish of all the things that we have accomplished. We do know that the transfer rate is enormous at this university. 62% of our baccalaureate graduates did not start at their graduating college. That shows you how many students are transferring from community colleges and from other senior colleges within the system. As a result of that, it's taking too long to graduate, and we are forcing students to accumulate too many credits. And I think at the core of the problem is not having a strong focus on general education, and we're going to be working certainly very closely with Trustee Cooper, Sandy Cooper, and the University Faculty Senate. We're going to be working closely with faculty groups all through the university, but we are determined to get this job done once and for all. I'd like to take a few minutes now to provide an update on our new community college. The founding dean, Dr. Scott Evenbeck, will officially join us at the beginning of January. He has been very involved with the planning process since he was selected for the position this past summer. An external review team chaired by Betsy Barefoot of the John Gardner Institute was here earlier this month to meet with the various university constituencies. The official application to the State Education Department will be presented to CAPRA at the end of January for consideration by the full board when it meets in February. Several key hires have already been made, including 6 full-time faculty and our registrar. We hope to move the operation into leased space, which will be its temporary home across from Bryant Park by early next year. I remind you that November is CUNY month, and there are hundreds of events taking place on CUNY campuses this month, including open houses, financial aid workshops, and special events for online graduate programs for prospective students. And let me just put up or hold up something that's at your seats, the Salute to Scholars brochure. Take a time to look at this. Not only it is attractive, but it is full of useful and exciting information of what is going on here at the university, largely by our very distinguished faculties across the university. And we will be paying tribute to those faculties later this month when we have the formal event of saluting our scholars here at the university. There will be a CUNY College Fair for veterans on Tuesday, November 30th at Borough of Manhattan Community College. This college fair is tailored specifically for veterans to learn how CUNY can help them transition from military life to academic life. Pleased to report that Borough of Manhattan Community College received a $21 million in state and city capital funds to build the New York Simulation Center for Health Sciences, a partnership between CUNY and the New York University Langone Medical Center. This will be one of the country's largest urban health science simulation training facilities anywhere. So congratulations, Antonio Perez, for that wonderful grant that you received. Congratulations to Senior Vice Chancellor Frederick Schaefer, who will be one of 3 honorees to receive the 2011 Annual Award for Excellence by the New York State Bar Association at their annual meeting on Tuesday, January 30th, 2011. Congratulations to Vice Chancellor Ginger Waters, who served on the governing board of the Human Resources Executive Summit, which took place in New York earlier this month. I'd like to congratulate President Felix Matos Rodriguez on his appointment to the National Community College Hispanic Council Board for 2010 through 2011. Mr. Chairman, it was a long report, but I'm now finished, and I'm happy to take any questions from anybody on the board.
Are there questions for the Chancellor? Comments on his report? All right, thank you very much. We'll turn now to items requiring a vote. I would like to move the adoption of the Chancellor's University Report for November 22nd, 2010. You'll find a copy of this at the table. May I have a second?
Second.
Are there questions on the University Report? All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Chairman?
Aye. Yes, please.
There is an errata sheet that you just want to note
All
will
right.
be part of this Chancellor's report. You have it on the table in front of you.
The errata sheet is made a part of the motion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Abstention? That carries. I'd like to move the adoption of the minutes of the regular board meeting and the executive session of September 27th. You have a copy of the minutes in your book. May I have a second?
Second.
Second. Are there any revisions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? The minutes are adopted.
There we go.
We'll turn now to the reports of our committees, and we'll hear first from the Committee on Fiscal Affairs, Trustee Joe Loda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Committee on Fiscal Affairs met on November 1st, 2010. After the approval of the minutes of the August 30th meeting, the committee approved the following resolutions. Resolution calendar item 3A is a resolution calling for the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York to authorize the General Counsel to execute a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, on behalf of the City University and the State University of New York and NY Link. This MOU formalizes and extends CUNY's ongoing relations with NY Link to receive critical library services for 20 university colleges and the central administration. The MOU shall be awarded as an intergovernmental agreement for a term of 1 year, the total amount of services not to exceed $1.6 million for its term. Mr. Chairman, I move the approval and adoption of calendar item 3A.
May I have a second? Second. Are there any questions or comments on this item? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? 3A carries.
Calendar item 3B is a resolution calling for the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York to authorize the university to adopt a revised schedule of tuition charges for students enrolling in the Master of Social Work programs within the university, effective the spring 2011 semester. The
Education is under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that! When education is under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that! When education is under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that! When education is under attack, what do we do? Stand up like that!
Where can I get one of those orange shirts? I love that. That's some of the oldest students I've ever seen. They're adjuncts? This is why we need sports again. What happened? Or he's got the wrong son.
Unelected body. The complete farce. Education is a right. 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 Education is a right.
Should we invite the NYPD up? Can we invite the NYPD up?
Sham board.
Where'd you go?
Sham vote. Sham board. Sham vote. Sham board. Sham vote. Sham board. Sham vote. Sham board. Sham vote. Sham board.
We're not a whale down at...
We're young. We're poor. We're not going to pay any more. We're young. We're poor. We're not going to pay any more. We're young. We're poor. We're not going to pay any more.
What are we doing?
We're poor. We're not going to pay any more. We're young. We're poor. We're not going to pay any more. We're young. We're poor. We're not going to pay any more. We're poor.
If I got up and left, it would be cool. I would like a cup of coffee. What's that? Here we go, boys. Here we go.
Until I get hungry. Until I get hungry.
Where was I? How far did I get?
Remain true to your mission. Remain true to your mission. Remain true to our mission. And I'm doing it. Free CUNY now. Fixing anything. CUNY now. Free 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 CUNY now.
Thank you. Don't you know it? The camera's on me the whole time.
Joe. Who's the old guy? The guy in the blue in the front row. The old guy.
Equal pay for equal wages? Can I continue?
Takes time to empty out a big room. Takes time to empty out a big room.
Welcome to CUNY system.
like to recognize Trustee Loda.
Thank you, Mr.
Again,
Chairman.
where were we?
Enrolling in the Master of
I want
Social...
to ask the people who are on this board who graduated from CUNY when it was free for them to take into consideration that people here are trying to fight for an education. People are trying to have the education that you're promising. That people who are trying to get the education that you were promising to them, that they're not able to get it based on the ways in which you were trying to provide impediments to people in their education. There are people who are on this board who graduated from CUNY when it was free, and I want for you to consider that. I am a student at the Graduate Center. I am also an adjunct lecturer at LaGuardia Community College, and I think that it's best up if you're not around CUNY to exist for everyone.
It's free because that's all it was worth. That's why it was free.
Calendar item 3B is a resolution calling for the Board of Trustees of the University to authorize the City University of New York to adopt a revised schedule of tuition charges for students enrolling in the Master of Social Work programs within the university effective for spring 2011 semester. The proposed tuition increase is $500 per semester for full-time resident students, $50 per credit for part-time resident students, and $35 per credit for full and part-time non-resident students. The increased tuition revenue will be used solely to support the MSW programs to strengthen the services to students and the academic faculty. Mr. Chairman, I move the approval and adoption of calendar item 3B.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there comments? Professor Cooper?
I will wait for the next resolution.
Comments.
Sorry, I would wait for the next resolution, please.
Trustee Provost?
I would like to pretty much just echo the sentiments of my fellow students in the crowd. I think the last 10 to 15 minutes pretty much summarized my feeling on this resolution.
Thank you. Are there other comments, questions for the committee? Are you ready for the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
Abstentions? The motion carries. Trustee
Cal-
Loder.
Calendar item 3C is a resolution calling for the Board of Trustees of the City University of New York to authorize the university to adopt a revised tuition and fee schedule, including a 5% across-the-board increase in all tuition rates effective the spring 2011 semester. Before the vote of this resolution by the committee, Chancellor Goldstein made a presentation giving background and context information for this recommendation. The state of New York has reduced the university's fiscal year 2011 budget by $21 million as part of the state's workforce savings initiative. Additional mid-year reductions are anticipated as the state attempts to close their ever-expanding projected current year budget shortfall. In addition, the city of New York has proposed a current year reduction of $13 million to the university's budgets. The revenues generated by this proposed tuition increase will be used to offset these reductions and enable the colleges to implement their current year academic and financial plans without further disruption. Mr. Chairman, I move the approval and adoption of calendar item 3C.
May I hear a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Questions? Professor Cooper?
Thank you. Those of you who have received a copy of the resolution which University Faculty Senate passed last week received a resolution which was passed with an enormous amount of reluctance. We did not have a unanimous vote. We endorsed the compact by a sturdy majority. It urges an increase in TAP to cover this increased tuition. It does not authorize the growth of administrations on campuses, which my colleagues in the Senate have been reporting with great unhappiness. It is happy to hear the Chancellor say that he does not wish to repeat the horrors of retrenchment, which I, for one, lived through in 1975 and watched for 20 years a bleeding university try to recover. I do not like being in this position. I am one of those people at this table who fits the description that the last student raised of people who benefited from free tuition. It is also the case that the majority of the Black and Puerto Rican caucus that I worked with in the 1990s were recipients and beneficiaries of that wonderful possibility, and they changed the face of the State Assembly just as we have changed the face of the workforce in the metropolitan area. This faculty resolution that supports the compact is therefore not done with any enthusiasm. And it is the great hope of us that the money comes back to the university and doesn't end up being another indirect tax on poor people. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other comments? Yes. Trustee Pantaleo.
Mr. Chairman, I speak in favor of this resolution. Before I did so, the analysis, just to share with my fellow trustees, was rather simple and straightforward. I first thought, is it necessary? Because if it's not necessary, it would clearly be highly problematic to even be proposing it. And the necessity screams out based on the $205 million cut since fiscal 09, and including $84 million this year, and all the budget cuts that have been discussed by the Chancellor both here and in the Financial Affairs Committee. The second question I asked myself, is it reasonable? The best way to determine reasonableness is to look at comparability. California has raised, since 2008, its tuition in its public institutions by 32%, and another 8% has just been proposed. Florida by 15%, which means 32% over 2 years. Alabama by 8 to 23%, depending on the institution. Washington State over 30% over a 2-year period, and 16% for Georgia at research institutions, and the list goes on. No one on this board that I know would vote for a tuition increase that they did not believe was necessary and reasonable. And I think the final criteria that I had to determine for myself, and I have satisfied myself, have all the reasonable alternatives been explored. We have looked at everything from increasing philanthropy to trying to get more and more responsive funding from the state. The fact of the matter is, I personally accepted a position on this board because I believed in access and I believed in education for those who have historically been unable to afford it. This tuition increase, were it not necessary, would be inconsistent with that belief. Because it is necessary, it is reasonable, and there are no alternatives, I support it.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Provost.
I believe all of us have in front of us a resolution that was passed with unanimous consent by the University Student Senate at our last plenary session. And I sit here speaking on behalf of that resolution and the sentiments that the students of this university feel. The last 10 to 15 minutes, again, I think you showcased what the students are feeling at this university in regards to the proposed tuition increase for this upcoming semester. Last week at the board hearing, there was a question raised on whether, if we had to make a choice between excellence and access, on which should we choose, and the presenter said that we need to choose excellence at all points. My issue with that statement is that if you have the best cake in town, what good is it if no one else can taste it? We need to understand that to mean that tuition is a tool of prevention against access to education and where we sit today. As it was also noted that many of us around this board understand the importance of access, as it all directly helps us when we try to move upward in society. And currently education is predicated with upward social mobility is predicated on education in our society as it is today. And I hold many reservations about this tuition increase.
Thank you. Trustee Foster.
Excuse my voice. I just wanted to echo the words of my fellow trustee colleague, Pantaleo. I am in full support of the resolution and am sorry to have to put it through as I am, as I'm sure the other members of this board are as well.
Thank you. Are there other comments? Are you ready for the question? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I oppose.
Abstentions? The motion carries. Trustee Loda?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Calendar item 3D is a resolution to adopt the university's fiscal year 2011-2012 operating budget request. Subject to the availability of resources, City University seeks a total of $2.76 billion for the university. This total includes additional funding of $95.2 million for baseline needs and $63.1 million for programmatic increases. With the 2011-2012 budget request, the university is proposing the continuation of its approach to the financing of its master plan for the education of City University students, the CUNY Compact. The university seeks to finance its ongoing obligations with state and city funds and its investment program through a modest increase in public funding, continuing budget restructuring and efficiencies, philanthropy, revenues from enrollment growth, and a 2% increase in tuition, which amounts to $45 per semester for senior college undergraduate resident students and $30 per semester for community college resident students. All other tuition rates will be increased proportionately. This year, the university's priorities are the hiring of more full-time faculty and providing support for research, academic enhancements, and student services. Before the vote on this resolution by the committee, Associate Vice Chancellor Matthew Sapienza made a presentation on the budget request. I now call upon Chancellor Goldstein to offer some background on this request. Chancellor?
Thank you, Trustee Loda. Let me say that this university has made enormous progress over the past few years and has done so with very limited investment by the state of New York. And that was what led to the birth of a very different financing mechanism, a vehicle to find ways to leverage stakeholders against each other to allow monies to become invested in the university. And that is the reason that we have been able to increase the number of full-time faculty by about 1,700 or 1,800 since 1999. It is without precedent in the United States, and it was a result of reshaping our budget, switching our priorities, and understanding that fundamentally the way students learn is largely determined by the quality of the faculty that we put in classrooms to guide them, inspire them, and challenge them. And that is going to continue to be our role on a going forward basis. I remind you that it was in the mid-1970s when this university had about 11,500 full-time faculty. We have now about 7,200, 7,300 full-time faculty, and we need more. And the budget request recognizes that and indicates ways in which we think we can generate the funds. Unfortunately, part of it is with respect to student tuition. And part of the reason that we are approaching the tuition increase as we are positioning it is to smooth the large spikes that we have seen in the past that has really led to dislocation and students having to give up their matriculation. We cannot do that anymore. This budget request postulates the compact which has embedded within it a rational tuition policy. So on a going forward basis, the decade of the science, which is about rebirthing, if you will, science education in the university, which has lagged for too many years. The whole decade of science is a capital program and an investment program in people. The budget request is about faculty. It's about academic support services to give students the kind of guidance and direction that they need to succeed. It's about investing in instrumentation. It's about investing in computational tools and in infrastructure, all of the very basic things that are needed to keep the core academic vitality of this university alive and moving. And it is for that reason that I hope that you will see the wisdom in the way in which we constructed this budget message and look forward to its adoption. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Further comments or questions on the motion? I can't remember if we got a second. Let's get a second.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't move it. Mr. Chairman, I move the approval and adoption of calendar item 3D.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Are there further questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
And any abstentions? Motion carries.
Following the vote on the budget request, the university's Chief Investment Officer, Janet Crone, reported on the university's investment portfolio. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my report.
Thank you very much. I would like now to introduce a resolution at the suggestion of the Chancellor. It would become Resolution 3E, and I'll read it. Resolved that notwithstanding the tuition rates specified in the resolution passed earlier in today's meeting, the Board of Trustees authorizes the Chancellor to increase tuition rates for the 2011-2012 fiscal year up to an additional 3% based on information concerning the fiscal condition, budgetary problems of the state and city of New York, and their likely effect on operating aid to the university and the quality of education the university can provide to its students. And be it further resolved that prior to making any decision on further increases in tuition rates, the Chancellor shall consult with members of the Board of Trustees and other appropriate representatives of interested parties, including faculty and Senate. The faculty and students. Explanation. The tuition rates set forth in the resolution passed by the Board of Trustees earlier in today's meeting, which provide for increases of 2%, are based on the best and most current information available to the university at this time. In the event that the fiscal condition of the state and the city continues to worsen, this resolution would authorize the board, would authorize the Chancellor to use his discretion to increase tuition rates up to an additional 3% if warranted by new information indicating that such increases are necessary to preserve the quality of education the university provides to its students. Granting the Chancellor such discretion is consistent with the way in which this board handled the last tuition increase 2 years ago. May I have a second?
Second.
May I turn to the Chancellor for a comment on this
Yes,
resolution?
let me thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me speak very briefly. This is a tool that we used the last time we had to raise tuition. The 2% that was approved in your prior resolution was really something of an estimate of what it is that we may face. We are in a very dynamic situation now, both economically and with new leadership, and it's going to take a while for all of this to sort itself out. We need to be able to move nimbly and thoughtfully as we balance expenditure reductions and increased revenue. Obviously, any action that would be enacted or any action that would move forward with increasing the cap from 2 to a slightly higher number would be done with the most degree of care and consideration. I have asked all of the presidents that if the time comes later in the new year, where there will be a compelling reason because of further budget constraints that we have to make sure that each of their campuses are well instructed on why we feel we have to move in a certain way, and to bring back information from both faculty and students to enable us to think through whatever action that we have to take. My own belief is that the numbers that we are going to be confronted with are going to be manageable, because I think, we have the right tools in place. Our working groups that were established 2 years ago have now a plan to deal with expenditure reductions, but that will also have to be moderated up or down depending upon conditions that we will face. So I think it's important that we proceed in this particular way. I don't think anything will be done. I can assure the board that nothing will be done unless we are convinced that the presidents have gone through their due diligence with their faculty, with their students, to get best ideas and practices, share information, and bring that back so that I can work with my own staff here to determine what the appropriate balance between additional revenue over the 2% and perhaps further reductions that are already in the planning from the 3 working groups. So this is still a work in progress. We will get better clarity over the next few months, but when we do, we have to be able to move quickly and enact the necessary actions that we would need to move forward with.
Other questions or comments? Trustee Provost.
I remember in one of our prior conversations that I've had with the Chancellor, that you said that you would put a CUNY student up against any student from across the country, and that's something I definitely agree with. I think the students here at this university are top of the top and can compete on any level across any board. But again, to go back to my earlier notion of, if you have the best cake in town, it's no good if no one else can taste it and enjoy it. And again, I have reservations about going that route with another tuition increase.
And Corey, let me say that I understand and I agree with much of what you said. One of our leading strategies going forward in Albany is to try to get a change in the TAP schedule. The tuition assistance program is now capped at $5,000. Obviously, as SUNY and CUNY increases its tuition, TAP has to be adjusted accordingly. So our strategy is to enact an idea with the state legislature and certainly with the executive to positively correlate movements of tuition with changes in the TAP schedule. Right now, anything that we will be proposing will between TAP and Pell cover the most needy students. And we will continue to be mindful of it, but on a going forward basis, I need to remind all of you that very soon the TAP is going to have to be reformed from what it is right now. The cap has been $5,000 for some time, and it really needs to be increased. That is an investment that we need to see the state of New York make. And the compact idea is in some sense relieving the state of some of that responsibility by setting up challenges. And we have embedded into the compact now for the very first time this notion of positively correlating the TAP schedule with tuition increases that will be done prospectively, both at SUNY and CUNY. And I think we both systems see this in the same way.
Professor Cooper?
Thank you. With regard to TAP, you are well aware of the fact that the Senate has proposed for years that we go for per credit TAP and support more part-time students. Is there any chance that that might be campaigned for, because that might alleviate some of this horror? Second part, it is my understanding from what I've read that Pell is in serious financial trouble and it has a huge deficit. And what is there to lead us to believe that that money will be available next year when the lower house of the Congress is in less friendly hands?
Trustee Cooper, yes to your first answer, your first question. Part-time TAP is always a part of our legislative agenda. With respect to the deep deficits that Pell is now under, you're absolutely right. It's about a $36 billion deficiency between the needs of Pell recipients and the dollars that have been appropriated to support Pell. I don't know on a going forward basis if that program is going to be pulled back, but I will tell you, and you know this as well as I do, that there is a momentum growing in this country, both on the public side and the private side, that especially in the private side, that tuition is very high and getting higher each year. Private institutions raise their tuition yearly, and too many students are taking out long-term debt in order to navigate this. So I think that politically, more and more people in Congress understand that this country, in order for it to participate in an economy that is going to be unforgiving of students leaving without the kinds of skills that they need, and therefore needing further and further education, will have to support the notion of making it easier for students to stay in college, and therefore will have to address the TAP program, the Pell program. But you're right, it is running a deficit.
Are there other comments, questions? Trustee Loda.
Mr. Chairman, I speak in favor of this resolution. I think, and we all know, we live in extraordinary times. What is going on in Albany, what is going on in all state capitals throughout the country is absolutely amazing in how the budgets have been put together over the last decade or so. We've been through years of tremendous growth, and there's been no preparation for the day, for the rainy day, if you will, and where it's here now. I agree with the Chancellor. Out of an abundance of caution, we need the flexibility due to the dynamic nature of what's going on in Albany. Governor-elect Cuomo is facing a $9 billion deficit next year. He's facing, over his first term, almost $50 billion of projected deficits. He's also campaigned that he would not have any across-the-board tax increases. Accordingly, we are going to have reductions. And I think you'll see reductions in education at every level throughout the state, as well as health care and various other things. We need to be prepared for this because, as I said at the beginning, we do live in an extraordinary time. And it goes back to a former boss of mine who kept saying, plan for the worst, hope for the best. I think having the flexibility of this resolution is part of planning for the worst and hoping for the best.
Thank you. Are there other comments? Yes.
I speak in favor of the resolution, and I'd also like to change or expand the discussion of whether we're choosing between access and excellence. I think we need to have a conversation with the students and understand that we're talking about sustainability at this time. It's not about making a choice between access and excellence. We are talking about sustainability, and that if we don't do what we're talking about doing, there will be no university for any student, be they accessible or, So I think my suggestion to the Chancellor is that we really need to have very open and honest conversations with our constituents, be it the faculty, with the students, and we're talking about sustainability, and that more people need to understand really what sustainability and what the sources and uses are at the university and what we're really doing. So I stand in front of this, but I also encourage strongly that we increase the dialogue on the campuses and so that everyone understand really how this university is funded and how we can all be involved in that process.
Thank you. Are there other comments? Trustee Provost?
I think that's something that the University Student Senate and the students at large would definitely love to have and be able to engage in these kinds of dialogues at a very campus level. I remember at the inception of the CUNY Compact, they used to have town halls on all of the campus. I hope that's still in occurrence, that the various administrators are engaging the students and getting their input on what their feel is about the CUNY Compact, and I welcome the dialogue.
I think the presidents are up to the job of really initiating on their campuses serious dialogue about all of these matters.
Further comments? All right, you have the resolution. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
Abstentions? That resolution carries. Trustee Loda, anything further from the Committee on Fiscal Affairs?
No, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll turn next to the Committee on Academic Policy, Programs, and Research. I'd like to call on Trustee Wellington Chen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At its meeting on November 1st, the committee approved 2 policy matters. Item number 4A, the City University of New York rescission of requirement that CUNY degree candidates pass the CUNY proficiency exam, otherwise known as CPE. The CUNY proficiency exam, approved by the board in 1997 and first implemented in 2001, was designed to certify that students who have accumulated 45 academic credits were ready for upper division work. In November 2009, the Chancellery convened the CUNY Proficiency Task Force to conduct an evaluation of the CPE's efficacy. The task force has come to the conclusion that although CPE served a valuable purpose at an earlier stage in the CUNY history, it has become redundant as a certification exam. Pass rates are closely correlated with course grades. An overwhelming proportion of students pass the exam. Also, as a locally designed and administered exam, the CPE results cannot be compared to those of other colleges and universities. In addition, because it is given once to each student, it cannot measure how much students learn at CUNY. The rising cost of administrating the CPE, nearly $5 million per year, also present a concern. The Office of Academic Affairs, in consultation with faculty, will explore the possibility of instituting a nationally normed, psychometrically sound exam that measures the value added by a CUNY education. Item number 4B, Kingsborough Community College and Brooklyn College, AS/BS joint program in Earth and Planetary Science and Geology. This dual joint program provides a seamless pathway for Kingsborough Community College students wishing to enter the existing four-year degree program in geology at Brooklyn. After earning their baccalaureate degree, students will be ready for entry positions in the geotechnical industry as well as the governmental agencies such as the National Weather Service. Students will also be well equipped for graduate education and could, for example, enter Brooklyn College master program in geology. Item number 4A and 4B were approved by the committee, and I recommend their approval by the board.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions for the committee on either of these?
I have a question about a comment on 4A.
Yes.
The University Student Senate is enthused about the rescission of the CPE.
We can understand why.
And I think it's a great step for the university. And again, we're excited.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Are there other comments? I'd like to speak for the trustees in complimenting Kingsborough and Brooklyn on another joint program. The trustees support greatly these joint programs that align the community colleges with the senior colleges for the reasons that the Chancellor spoke of in his report. Are there other comments? Professor Cooper.
I'm just gloating because back 10 years ago, the Faculty Senate warned you that the CPE would correlate with grades. Why does it take 10 years for the trustees to learn what we knew to begin with?
Well, we weren't here then. in 1997. You weren't the
Sorry, I
chairman.
couldn't help it.
Other comments? Are you ready for the question? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, abstentions? Those matters carry. Anything further to report?
Informational items. Dr. Lowe spoke of academic policies that her office has recently reviewed, such as the CPA exam mentioned above, and last year's policy change allowing professional doctoral programs to be offered by colleges other than the Graduate Center. Her office is currently reviewing policies that affect retention rates and the ability of students to transfer among colleges without losing credits. She also spoke of a new phase of our partnership with NYC Department of Education, which is supported by a $3 million grant from the Gates Foundation. Further, she gave an update on the university, center, and its institutes. Lastly, Dr. Lowe reported on an amendment to bylaw 6.2.c, which will allow the colleges to hire faculty members who are associate professors with tenure at other institutions and to give them immediate tenure without a bylaw waiver. Dr. Gillian Small gave a report on the state of research and its funding at CUNY. More than $1 billion will be spent on refurbishing and building science facilities on the senior campuses. The university is engaging students in academic research earlier in their careers than has been done in the past. CUNY faculty research has a positive impact on the economic development of the New York area by providing opportunities for collaboration between the campuses and industry. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We'll turn next to the Committee on Faculty, Staff, and Administration. I'd like to call on Trustee Valerie Beal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Board Committee on Faculty, Staff, and Administration met on November 1st, 2010, to consider several items which I now present to the Board for approval. In addition, 2 items, 5C and 5D, came to our attention after our meeting and have been added to the calendar as they are of sufficient importance to warrant their consideration by the Board today. I will introduce those items at the end of my regular report. The regular calendar items are as follows. Items 5A concerns proposed amendments to the governance plan of Borough of Manhattan Community College to establish an academic freedom committee and a regulation compliance committee within the college's academic senate. These amendments have been adopted by the BMCC College Council and are recommended by the President. Mr. Chair, I present item 5A for the Board's approval.
May I hear a second?
Second.
Any questions on this governance change? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? 5A carries.
Thank you. Item 5B names the fountain located on the Alumni Walk at the College of Staten Island, the Nancy K. Munson Fountain. The late Miss Munson served as a member of the board for the Brooklyn Home for Aged Men, which in 2009 made a gift to the College of Staten Island Foundation in the amount of $300,000. That gift was matched by $200,000 from the U.S. Department of Education to establish the Nancy K. Munson Brooklyn Home for the Aged Men Scholarship Endowment for nursing students. Mr. Chair, I present item B for the Board's approval.
May I have a second?
Second.
Questions on item 5B? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? That carries.
As discussed, 2 items have been added to today's calendar, which involve namings at 2 colleges in recognition of significant gifts to the university, which together total more than $5 million. The Committee on Faculty, Staff, and Administration has reviewed these matters and recommends their approval by the Board. Item 5C concerns the naming of the Murray Koppelman Classroom Building at the Brooklyn College in recognition of a gift of $2,500,000 from Murray Koppelman to the Brooklyn College Foundation, where he has served as a trustee for more than 25 years. The gift will allow the college to expand its campus through the purchase of an adjacent property on which a classroom building named for the donor will be constructed. Mr. Chair, I present item 5C for the Board's approval.
May I hear a second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, abstentions? 5C carries.
And finally, 5D names the Kiley Prize at the City College of New York. Harvey L. Kiley is an alumnus of the City College of New York's Electrical Engineering program and the founder of Mini Circuits, a global leader in the design and manufacture of electrical components. A previous gift from Mr. Kiley established the Mini Circuits Scholars Program at City College. He has now pledged $3 million to endow an annual competition culminating in a prize to be awarded to the best entrepreneurial project developed by a team of City College students and their faculty advisor. In recognition of his generosity, the college requests that this prize be named the Kiley Prize in perpetuity. Mr. Chairman, I present item 5D for the board's approval.
May I have a second?
I'd like the privilege to second that one.
You.
Why don't we let the Chancellor second that one? He'll know why. The Cayley Prize.
Yeah, he's a good man. Well, I know Harvey Cayley for a number of years, and I'm delighted that he got to know our new president, Lisa Stagnano-Koiko, well, and has confidence in her. And so, congratulations, Lisa. He's a great man, and I think if you do a great job with this, I'm sure he'll come back and do more for you.
So's Mary Copeland.
Further comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions? 5D carries. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you very much. We'll turn next to the Committee on Facilities Planning and Management. I'd like to call on Trustee Jeff Weisenfeld.
The Board of Trustees Committee on Facilities Planning and Management considered 13 items at its meeting of November 1st. What I'd like to do is summarize all of the items with the exception of item C, so that the Vice Chancellor can comment on the capital program. So we'll look, if there's no objection, to get approval for all those except C for the moment. Item A, Baruch College North Campus external lighting, will authorize a construction contract on behalf of Baruch College for installing external lighting on the campus. Existing external lighting is inadequate, inoperable, and in many cases repair is not possible because fixtures have been embedded within sidewalks and stairways in such a way to render them inaccessible. New external lighting on the North Campus buildings and walkways will enhance security and safety for the college and surrounding community. Item B is for the Brooklyn College TV studio production facility in Whitehead Hall to authorize a construction and equipment installation contract for renovations to the TV studio in Whitehead Hall. The existing TV studio has not had any major renovations in 20 years, and the equipment is very much outdated in need of replacement. The project will replace old analog-based media production equipment with new digital high-definition equipment, and upgrade infrastructure is needed to accommodate the new equipment and meet current codes. Skipping to item D, for renovations to Central Administration office space at 535 East 80th Street, it will authorize construction services contract for renovations to floors 3, 5, and 7. The project will make interior renovations to these floors to meet increased demand for office, meeting, and conference space at that location. Work will include upgrades to infrastructure, restroom signage, furniture, finishes, and lighting. Item E, at the New York City College of Technology campus fire alarm systems, authorize an amendment to the prior resolution for this project to accommodate the design and installation of an additional fire alarm system at the college's Namhol complex. This amends a prior resolution for the project, which was adopted on December 8, 2008, to reflect an increase of $450,000 in the original contract amount due to required installation of additional fire alarm system in the Namhol complex. Item F, for the New York City College of Technology as well, new academic building amendment, authorize an amendment to the prior resolution for this project to reflect additional scope of services. Subsequent to the adoption of the prior resolution on June 23, 2008, the scope of services was increased by the need to move the current TV and radio station from the site to the Graduate Center to advance this project. Item G, at Queens College, electrical distribution system upgrade, will authorize a consultant contract with the firm of O'Brien & Gear for services required to upgrade the electrical systems at the college. Two prior resolutions for this project, adopted January 25, 2010 and April 26, 2010, authorized contracts with two other consultant firms, both of which firms were unable in the end to come to agreement with CUNY on contract terms. The contract will award a consultant contract with O'Brien and Gear to provide much-needed upgrades to the college's campus-wide electrical distribution system. Also at Queens College, item H, the Louis Armstrong House Museum Visitor Center to authorize design for a new visitor center for the Louis Armstrong House Museum. The project will construct a new visitor center in a vacant lot across the street from the museum. The new center will replace the inadequate visitors' facilities currently housed in the basement of the museum and serve as a new repository for the Armstrong archives currently housed on the Queens College campus. Item I, also at Queens College, Rosenthal Library Phase 1 renovations, to authorize a construction contract for Phase 1 renovations to the Rosenthal Library. The project will make much-needed renovations to the 20-year-old building, which is due for some general upgrades, both major and minor. Work during the Phase 1 segment of the renovation will include upgrades to the circulation desk, installation of more workstations and computers in the general study and student common areas, installation of Wi-Fi throughout the library, construction of individual and group study and reading spaces, smart classroom, and upgraded copy and print center. Item J, at York College, new academic village and conference center to authorize a consultant contract for the new building at York College. This project will replace the existing classroom building with a new 160,000 gross square foot structure, which will house the college's academic village and the conference center. The existing building was built as a temporary structure in 1974. It will be demolished and replaced with a new state-of-the-art facility, providing space to accommodate student services, general instruction, and administrative functions, and will provide lounges, study areas, support space, campus bookstore, gallery space, and major conference center, which will be open to use by the community. Item K, an extension of a lease agreement at 875 6th Avenue, will authorize a 15-year extension on an existing lease for premises to be used to house administrative functions of the CUNY Central Office. Item L, a new lease at 104 East 25th Street on behalf of Baruch College will authorize a new 15-year lease of premises to house all of the college's administrative functions. And finally, item M, an amendment to a prior resolution authorizing the lease of space at 205 Hudson Street on behalf of Hunter College, which will authorize the addition of the fourth floor to the terms of this lease adopted by the board on June 28, 2010. I hereby request your approval of all of these items for the moment, with the exception of item C.
May I have a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Are there questions for the committee? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, abstentions? Those items carry.
And now we'll look for approval of item C. In your packets, you'll find a handout of an overview of the CUNY capital budget request for fiscal year 2012 to through 2016. And we'll ask Vice Chancellor Weinschel to provide comments on this request.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to direct the members of the board to a handout, major construction status. And this report pictorially really shows you where we are in terms of the many projects that are under construction here at CUNY. Projects such as John Jay, Fitterman Hall, the lab upgrades throughout the 23 campuses, the new North Instructional Building at Bronx Community College, and Hunter School of Social Work, just to name a few. I know all of you can't visit the sites as I do, but I thought that I would share that with the board. As noted by Mr. Weisenfeld, you have before you the 5-year capital request for CUNY. This year, the university is requesting $5.6 billion for the upcoming 5 years, $4.3 billion for the senior colleges, and $1.3 billion for the community colleges. Also part of this request, we're asking the mayoralty for approximately $670 million, as well as we're asking $95 million in Res-OA money from the City Council and the Borough President. Let me just point out that our requests are prioritized by the campuses as well as the projects that continue to be approved by the Board of Trustees. And our requests fall into the following category. funding to complete our existing projects, which are numerous, a limited number of new strategic initiatives, and continue important ongoing initiatives such as critical maintenance, the Chancellor's initiatives such as CUNY First, the Decade of the Sciences, in addition to additional academic facilities. I might also direct the board to look at page 11 of the handout. Each year we continue to work with the Department of the Budget to be able to have enough cash flow to keep these projects in construction. And as the board will note, a number of years, the next 5 years, there will be underfunding on a budget basis. And we will continue with this new administration as well as with the Department of Budget to try and work out the proper cash amount that CUNY needs to get further along on many of these very important projects for the university.
Thank you very much. We need a second on item 5C. May I have a second?
Second.
Are there questions for the committee on the 5-year capital budget? Not all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, abstentions? Capital budget is adopted. Anything further?
No, Mr. Chairman, that concludes the report of the Committee on Facilities Planning and Management.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our business for today's Board of Trustees meeting. I thank you for your attendance. Meeting is adjourned. All right, good.